Future education, safeguarding updates, what's new in keeping children safe in education 2022. Objective, to summarise the changes made to the Keeping Children Safe in Education government guidance, effective from 1st of September 2022, so that you were prepared for the new academic year. Why these updates are important. The statutory guidance Keeping Children Safe in Education sets out what all schools and colleges in England must do to safeguard and promote the welfare of children and young people under the age of 18 and is for head teachers, teachers and education staff, governing bodies and proprietors, management committees of pupil referral units. The latest guidance replaces Keeping Children Safe in Education 2021 and comes into force on 1st of September 2022. Safeguarding issues. All staff should have an awareness of the variety of safeguarding issues that can put children at risk of harm, including child and child abuse, domestic abuse, serious violence, child sexual exploitation, child criminal exploitation, online safety, mental health, FGM, neglect, physical, sexual and emotional abuse. All staff should know how to report and record concerns. Keeping Children Safe in Education 2022, Part 1, Updates for all staff. Child on child abuse replaces the term peer on peer abuse. There is a clear requirement that the school, college's child protection policy should include procedures for dealing with child on child abuse, and all staff should be aware of this. P12 to 13. Additional guidance relating to LGBT plus pupils and the need to further safeguard within the context of child on child abuse. This should be reflected in school policies. Sexual violence and sexual harassment in schools. The DfE's advice on sexual violence and sexual harassment between children in school and colleges, DfE 2021, has been merged into Keeping Children Safe in Education 2022. Supporting victims of abuse, there is an emphasis that all staff should be to reassure victims of abuse that they are being taken seriously and will be supported, ensuring that children's young people are never made to feel ashamed or that they are creating a problem by reporting abuse, sexual violence or sexual harassment. Domestic abuse. Domestic abuse has been added to the list of safeguarding issues that all staff should be aware of. The guidance makes it clear that domestic abuse can be psychological, physical, sexual, financial, or emotional, can impact on children through seeing, hearing, or experiencing the effects of domestic abuse, or experiencing it through their own intimate relationships. Teenage relationship abuse can encompass a wide range of behaviours and may be a single incident or a pattern of incidents, all of which can have a detrimental and long-term impact on their health, well-being, development and ability to learn. Keeping Children Safe in Education 2022, page 14. Disclosures. The updated guidance including a new paragraph setting out the children may not feel ready or know how to tell someone they are being abused. Child on child abuse. It is essential that all staff understand the importance of challenging inappropriate behaviours between children, many of which are listed below, that are abusive in nature, downplaying certain behaviours, for example, dismissing sexual harassment as just banter, just having a laugh, part of growing up, boys being boys, can lead to a culture of unacceptable behaviours, an unsafe environment for children, and in worst case scenarios, a culture that normalises abuse, leading children accepting it is a normal and not coming forward to report it. Children who identify as LGBT+. The fact that a child or a young person may be LGBT is not in itself an inherent risk factor for harm. However, children who are LGBT can be targeted by other children. In some cases, a child who is perceived by other children to be LGBT, whether they are or not, can be just as vulnerable as children who identify as LGBT. Keeping Children Safe in Education 2022, page 49, para 202. Consensual and non-consensual sharing of indecent images as part of child and child abuse. Consensual and non-consensual sharing of nude and semi-nude images and/or videos 41, also known as sexting or youth produce sexual imagery. The policy should include the school or college's approach to it. The department provides search and screening and confiscation advice for schools. The UK CIS Education Group has published share and nudes and semi-nudes advice for education setting work with children and young people, which outlines how to respond to an incident of nude or semi-nude being shared. Keeping children safe in education, para 156, bullet point 6E. Serious violence. All staff should be aware of indicators which may signal that children are at risk from or are involved with serious violent crime. This may include increased absence from school, a change in friendships or relationships with older individuals or groups, a significant decline in performance, signs of self-harm or a significant change in well-being, signs of assault or unexplained injuries, unexplained gifts or new possessions. All staff should be aware of the associated risks and understand the measures in place to manage these. For further advice, see Preventing Youth Violence and Gang Involvement and Criminal Exploitation of Children and Vulnerable Adults, County Lines. Keeping Children Safe in Education 2022, Part 2, Updates. Management of Safeguarding, Human Rights and Equalities Legislation, Online Safety, Virtual School Heads. The management of safeguarding, training for governors and trustees. New content emphasises that governing bodies and proprietors should ensure that all governors and trustees receive appropriate safeguarding and child protection, including online training at induction. This training should equip them with the knowledge to provide strategic challenge to test and assure themselves that the safeguarding policies and procedures in place in schools and colleges are effective and support the delivery of robust whole school approach to safeguarding. Their training should be regularly updated, keeping children safe in education, P23.81. Human rights legislation. The updated guidance makes it clear that being subjected to harassment, violence and or abuse may breach children's rights as set out in the Human Rights Act 1998. Article 3. The right to freedom from inhumane and degrading treatment. Article 8. The right to respect for private and family life, a qualified right, includes a duty to protect individuals' physical and psychological integrity. Protocol 1, Article 2, protects the right to education. Being subjected to harassment, violence and or abuse, including that of a sexual nature, may breach any or all of these rights, depending on the nature of the conduct and the circumstances. Keeping children safe in 2022, P24, para 85. Equality legislation. The guidance sets out the significance of the Equality Act 2010 to school safeguarding, including that school and colleges must not unlawfully discriminate against pupils because of their protected characteristics, must consider how they are supporting pupils with protected characteristics, must take positive action when proportionate to deal with the disadvantage these pupils face. For example, by making reasonable adjustments for disabled children and supporting girls if there is evidence that they are being disproportionately subjected to sexual violence or harassment. It also looks at the implications of the public sector equality duty for education settings. This includes the need to be conscious that pupils with protected characteristics may be more at risk of harm and integrate this into safeguarding policies and procedures. Children missing education and attendance. The DfE have published new guidance on improving school attendance, which will come into force from September 2022. Working together to improve school attendance. Online safety. Online safety additions to the guidance state that governing bodies and proprietors should regularly review the effectiveness of school filters and monitoring systems. They should ensure that the leadership team and relevant staff are aware of and understand the systems in place, manage them effectively, know how to escalate concerns when identified. Schools and colleges should use communication with parents and carers to reinforce the importance of children being safe online. Schools should share information with parents/carers about what systems they have in place to filter and monitor online use, what they are asking children to do online, including the sites they'll be asked to access, who from the school or college, if anyone, the child is going to be interacting with online. Virtual school heads. Guidance has been updated to reflect the extension of the role of virtual school head to include a non-statutory responsibility for oversight of the attendance, attainment and progress of children with a social worker. In offering advice and information to workforces that have relationships with children with social workers, virtual school heads should identify and engage with key professionals, helping them to understand the role they have in improving outcomes for children. This should include designated safeguarding leads, social workers, head teachers, governors, special educational needs coordinators, mental health leads, other local authority officers, including designated social care officers for SEN, where they exist. Keeping Children Safe in Education 2022, P47, Para 194 to 195. Keeping Children Safe in Education 2022, Part 3, Updates. Safer recruitment, applications. Updated guidance clarifies that a CV should only be accepted alongside a full application form and is not sufficient on its own to support safer recruitment. Keeping Children Safe in 2022, P52, Para 214. Schools and colleges should only accept copies of a CV alongside an application form. A CV on its own will not provide adequate information. Checks. Information has been added to highlight that schools should consider online searches as a part of their due diligence checks on shortlisted candidates. Keeping Children Safe in Education 2022, Part 4, Updates. Low-level concerns. Low-level concerns is termed as allegations/concerns that do not meet the harm threshold. As part of the whole school or college approach to safeguarding, schools and colleges should ensure that they promote an open and transparent culture which all concerns about all adults working in or on behalf of the school or college, including supply teachers, volunteers and contractors, are dealt with promptly and appropriately. Keeping Children Safe in Education 2022, P19, Para 423. Low-level concerns information has been updated to make it clear that a low-level concerns policy should contain a clear procedure for confidentially sharing concerns. The school can decide whether concerns are initially shared with the designated safeguarding lead, nominated person, or directly with the head teacher/principal. The head teacher should ultimately be informed of all low-level concerns and make the final decision on how to respond. Where appropriate, this can be done in consultation with the DSL. Guidance also clarifies that low-level concerns which are shared about supply staff and contractors should be notified to their employers, and schools and colleges should consult with their LADO if unsure whether low-level concerns shared about a member of staff meet the harm threshold. Keeping Children Safe in Education 2022, P85, Para 352 to 354. Learning lessons. Where the allegation concluded to be either unfounded, false, malicious, or unsustained, the case manager should consider the facts and determine whether any lessons can be learned and if improvements can be made. Keeping Children Safe in Education 2022, Part 5, Updates. Child-on-child sexual violence and sexual harassment. This section has been expanded to incorporate guidance previously covered in the DfE sexual violence and sexual harassment between children in schools and colleges advice. It also provides new information emphasising the importance of explaining to children that the law is in place to protect rather than criminalise them, the importance of understanding intrafamilial harms and any necessary support for siblings following incidents, the need for schools and colleges to be part of discussions with statutory safeguarding partners.